Now we're going to talk about triads. Triads are notes stacked on top of each other in thirds. So when that happens, we will form what we call a triad, or also known as a chord. Now we're going to talk about how to construct a triad. Now we have established the four qualities. We have a major, minor, augmented, and diminished triad. Each one sounds different and unique. So since we're dealing with triads, there's going to be three notes in the chord, hence the term triad. So the first note, or the note we have on the bottom, is going to be called the root, or the 1. Then the note above that is going to be the third, and then the one above that is going to be the fifth. So once again, triad are notes that's stacked on top of each other in thirds. So let's look at the major triad. In a major triad, if we have the root to the third, it's going to give us a major third interval. And from the third to the fifth, we're going to get a minor third interval. And then lastly, from the root to the fifth, we're going to have a perfect fifth interval. So this is how we construct a major triad. So the bottom note to the third is going to be a major third interval. Then from the third to the fifth, or the second to the third note, is going to be a minor third interval, and that is going to give us a major triad. So if we look at, for example, C major, here it is. We have C, E, and G. C to E is a major third, and E to G, is a minor third, and C to G is a perfect fifth. So here's a C major triad. And that is what a major triad sounds like. Now we're going to talk about the minor triad. The minor triad is similar but different. In a minor triad, we still have a perfect fifth from the root to the fifth, but from the first note, the root, to the third, we're going to get a minor third interval, and from the third to the fifth of the chord, we're going to get a major third interval. So it is reversed for a minor triad. So let's take C again. We know that C major is C, E, and G, but C minor, we're going to lower the third to an E flat. So now we have C to E flat being a minor third, and E flat to G being a major third. Since the C and the G didn't change, it's still a perfect fifth. So now this is how we get a minor triad. Another way you could think about it is, if you know your major triads, you lower the third of the chord by a half step and you'll get a minor triad. This is what a minor triad sounds like. Next, we have the augmented triad. So let's use the C chord again. For the augmented triad, however, we're going to have from the root, or the first to the third note of the chord, a major third, and from the third to the fifth of the chord, also a major third. So we have two major third intervals, and then from the root to the fifth of the chord, we're going to get an augmented fifth. So this is how we derived an augmented triad. So we have a C major chord, which is C, E, and G. So as you can see from the C major triad, we already have the root to the third being a major third interval. Now, in order to make the third to the fifth a major third interval, all we have to do is raise the top note, which is G, by a half step. So if we add a sharp to the G, now it's G sharp, now we have an augmented triad. So 1, 3, and the fifth is raised from a major. So you can do the formula of the first to the third being a major third interval, then the third going to the fifth being a major third interval, or you could simply take a major triad and you raise the fifth up by a half step. That way you'll also get an augmented triad. This is what the augmented triad sounds like. Now we're going to talk about the diminished triad. So for a diminished triad, I have my first, or the root, to the third of the chord being a minor third, then my third to the fifth of the chord also being a minor third, and then my root to the fifth giving me a diminished fifth interval. So this is my diminished triad. So if I have a C major chord again, if I lower my third, which is the E, and then my G as well, this will give me a C diminished triad. And this is what a diminished triad sounds like.